Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to not one, but two different shows today. It is the Inspire and Move podcast, X collaboration with the community podcast with the one and only Kristina Bartold.
You're such a hype queen. I love it. I feel the same way. When I do my little intro for you, I would hype you up the same way.
Oh, please go ahead. I can't wait to hear.
Well, Ali, you know I love you, and I talk about you all the time on podcasts about how you taught me everything I know about sponsorships and partnerships, and so you are truly a queen. And we've done this before. We've had a few collab episodes, and I think we should bring them back.
I think we should. I think it should be like a series.
Yeah.
And yet, it'll be a series that pretty soon Netflix will be ringing our doorbells or our phones, be like, "Hi, we love you guys. Could we please make a TV show about you?"
Oh my goodness. We were just talking actually about events, and we were talking about outfits at events. I think if we had a Netflix TV show, there would definitely have to be like a fit check component to it. We'd have to hire our girl Shelly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we would need to be like color coordinated. Like maybe it's a, salmon day. Maybe it's a butter yellow day. You just want to make sure that we are entirely synced in what it is that we're wearing. And, do I go short dress? You go long dress, flats versus heels.
Yes. I'll always be on the flat end of it. And also I have all these dresses that make me look like I churn butter. So we're going to have to find the balance here. My butter churning dresses from when we went to LA.
Yes, I remember us. I think that's part of your signature style based off of how many times I've heard you say that. So if that really paints a picture for everyone listening and watching, I feel like they can go exactly, they know what they're thinking, like patterns.
Yeah.
Dainty patterns.
Patterns, long, no neckline.
Yeah, high neck, maybe a ruffle.
Yeah, maybe one ruffle.
Singular ruffle. Well, this is a fun segue because we are talking all about visibility and making 2026 a big year for visibility. So maybe it is like churning butter, clothing, attire, visibility, depending on what people are feeling.
I think it depends on what you want to be known for. Everybody has their things. Like there's some people I know, and we have a mutual friend, Lori. Lori went through a phase where she used to wear really big hats.
Yep. Hat phase, yes.
Hat phase. And
boho
she's
phase.
like, boho, exactly. And so everyone has their own phase, especially when you're trying to build up your rapport. And I even know people who go to events and they'll wear long sparkly things, that's their thing. No matter what the attire is, they're wearing a sparkly jacket. Our friend Shelly has these massive statement necklaces that she wears. But this isn't just about clothing. We're talking today about visibility because Ali and I have been, really, we've invested tons and tons and tons of money and time and energy into growing our communities and growing our businesses. Both Benchmark, which is an amazing luxury boutique gym in Burlington. Ali's got a coaching business. I have women and the social Snippet. So we've got lots of stuff kind of working together. And we've just done so many things. So I think for us, we really want to talk about what it takes to get visible and what people should be focusing on. And yeah, Ali, why don't you take it away on what you found maybe in 2025 has been your best visibility tactic?
Well, I think a big part, and I love that you were saying about live events, and obviously we met in an in-person room.
Yeah.
And have also, as you said, we've spent a ton of money and time and energy to be in those rooms. And outside of wearing a cool outfit, and that is something I do always think about when going to events. And it depends, if it's a in-person mastermind, I'm not going to roll in a sparkly blazer, but I probably might opt for a bold lip with a maybe black on black ensemble, just having something. Or I've had neon nails, that something is a conversation starter. Whereas you're at our friend Lindsay's event, like a Powerhouse Women, where you have 800 women in a room, absolutely a great place for bold colors, neon colors,
Yeah.
sparkles. And I will think about that. But beyond just what I am wearing in terms of how I'm visible and how I show up in those rooms, I also think about my energy and what kind
Mhm.
of energy I'm going to attract. And it's probably no surprise for any of you listening to this episode that movement is a big part of my life. I'm a gym
Mhm.
owner, I'm a personal trainer. So I love exercising, I love working out, I love movement. And that is a non negotiable for me every day during the week.
Yeah.
And it's also something that is a non negotiable for me on event days, whether I'm
Oh.
attending, whether I'm hosting. I most likely won't have, a full hour available to work out, but I will absolutely prioritize like 20 minutes. Probably
Nice.
cardio because I think it's like a great way for me to generate energy, listen to some good music. And that's where it starts for me of how I'm going to show up in these rooms and be more visible and be more magnetic is starting my morning in a way that allows me to generate energy that I can then carry out through the day and have it be like that first layer that I'm getting dressed in almost.
Mm. Love that. I was gonna say too, like something that comes to mind for me is that like going to events and when you're meeting so many new people, like that's always a piece of it is like being in good energy. I always laugh. Like there was a season I was going to like 2024. I went to so many events, like so many events. And then 2025, because I was pregnant, I like didn't go to that many. And you remember actually we did a podcasting day in LA and I was like just pregnant, like 10 weeks and I was dead inside. Like I was like, it was like not worth it for me to be there. Like, and then the dinner series, I slept like the whole day, and like, and I was like, this is like not a waste of money because I got to see so many people I love, and that's like so worth it to me. But I was like, this is like not good energy for me to be in, to be like, really showing up, and it really made me realize that sometimes like less is more when it comes to going to events or experiences where you can like really show up as your best self. But even just not doing it in a chaotic way, I find really helpful. And sometimes it can be really hard when you're juggling so many things, like especially like going to lots of events or these events like there's a girlfriends walk on top of powerhouse women now, and like you do a like a mastermind day, and like maybe you have a spa day with your girls or whatever that is, and you have a family at home and whatever. Like it's so easy to like jolt in and jolt out and go here and go there, and like something I've really shifted has been like not making it chaotic. Like
Mhm.
I am like not in my chaotic travel era, because then you go and you feel chaotic and you're like not in like great energy. So like I love to go. I'm going to Miami this week. I'm going a day early. I've already booked a blowout on the Friday, so I feel really good. Like I'm excited, mostly because I can't do my own hair, but that's fine. That's neither here nor there.
Same. I love a good outsourcing of hair appointments.
Right? Where is? Well, I guess there are blowout bars in Ontario, but like, where are all the dry bars? Allie
I know.
Webb,
I
name
know.
and comment.
But bring them back. But I think that's so smart, and I love talking about whether it's habit stacking or just being efficient. Because
Yeah.
as a high achieving entrepreneur, let alone a high achieving entrepreneur mom, you
Mhm.
have a lot of roles and responsibilities on your plate at all times.
Yeah.
Especially if you are someone that constantly wants to, be in that momentum forward and moving that needle forward to have bigger, better, stronger years in business and in life.
Yeah.
There is such value in being able to outsource things like a blow dry. Is it
Totally.
$45, $75, whatever it may be? How does that allow you to buy back that hour of your time to turn around and make $1,000 in that hour or more?
Yes. Yeah. I often think about this is such a stupid example, but I take the train into Toronto sometimes,
Mhm.
and I live like, an hour and a half or whatever, and 2 hour train. And I always do the via first class, which seems insane. Like the price is probably 5 times the GO train. Like it's crazy. I don't even eat the snack. Like it's not about the snack. But I think about 1 hour, hour and a half where I could be so focused working that's
Mhm.
worth the $60. Like, where I could sit there, I have a great seat. I'm like not fighting people, like, like you're not all crammed in there. You're just like boop, 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 like it's all done. Right. And I think, yeah, I think like when we're building our businesses, like I think that level of outsourcing, like you have to find your wins when you can find them. I'm curious for you, Allie, like just thinking about, this past year, like obviously events have been like such a big part of like what you've done to grow your business. What do you feel like you do at events that helps you grow your business? Because it's not just buying a ticket. And I'm happy to answer that question after as well. But like, there's so many people who will just like buy a ticket and like they'll be like, "Well, I didn't get my ROI in that," or like it didn't transform me or whatever. And I'm always like, there's such a personal responsibility there. I think as attendees that we have in showing up. So, like, what do you do in order to make it like a visibility hack for you, but also to help you grow your business?
Such a good question. And it's so funny. I feel like you and I have had this conversation as friends, like not
Yeah.
recording in a podcast setting. But I think it is so much about visibility, that
Yeah.
it is like being in the room and being around these people. That I'm going to use Powerhouse Women this past year, like 2025 as an example, that I went with a mutual friend of ours, Sarah.
Yeah.
And I knew a handful of people because I've been to the event before, and I've
Yeah.
been to some other events that are complementary to who goes to Powerhouse Women.
Mhm.
And so I knew, let's call it maybe a dozen people, whether it's some of the speakers, some of the vendors, and some of the attendees. And I walked in there and I was greeted immediately by someone that I didn't know, someone
Mm.
who clearly follows me on Instagram and or knew me from someone else. So I took the time to, thank them for
Yeah.
coming up and introducing themselves to me. And what's your name? What's your business? Let's take a picture. Tag me on Instagram so I can reshare it. And I think that is a big thing about growing. And
Yeah.
when it comes to visibility, for sure, but absolutely growing in terms of expanding your audience, which can then convert to expanding your business and expanding how much revenue you make. It's
Mhm.
like this growth cycle that, as you said, you can't just expect to go to an event where you're spending, $300, $400, $500 on a ticket and immediately get the value.
Yep.
The event host is going to curate an exceptional day. They are going to have
Mhm.
speakers, they're going to have experiences, swag bags, whatever it may be. However they curate the event, it is still up to you as the attendee. It is your responsibility to create additional value for yourself.
Mhm.
What kind of content are you going to capture? What kind of connections are you going to make? Are you going to
Yeah.
follow each other on Instagram? Are you going to set up a coffee date, virtual, in person? Are you going to wear a cool outfit that you can then tag the brands? You can do a fit check video and have these different elements that your audience will then engage with, their follow. You'll attract non followers, then you'll grow
Mhm.
and grow and grow. And looking at how we're at the as we record this, the tail end of 2025, we've
Yeah.
already seen a massive shift of what it is like online and how you grow your business, that
Mhm.
we have to work so much harder to be visible.
Yeah.
And you need to take continuous action of what are you showing online, what rooms are you getting into, what communities are you in, and putting in the work in all of those different elements.
Yeah, totally. No, so many good points there because I think, yeah, not enough to just show up. And I think, our lives online are so visible, where like we go to events. I see this all the time now where I'll go to something and someone will be like, oh, I follow you, or like we're already connected through this person, or we met at this event. And like I think like coming up and showing up with a lot of gratitude for that is really helpful and like really like helping to build that like community because you never really know who's going to buy from you or who's going to make a referral for you. And I think that's something people forget is that someone might follow you on Instagram and you might not know them. And they're maybe singing your name in rooms you're not in because they follow you, they love your content. Um, Even today with our membership, somebody joined our membership, they paid in full. I'm like, I've never seen this person's name before. Like, I don't even know who they are. And so I was like looking on Instagram, and then one of the people I follow, who I don't have like a super big relationship with, messaged me and was like, "Hey, my friend just joined your membership. She was voice noting me asking if I thought it was valuable. Here's what I told her I learned from you." Right? Like you have no idea like who is like, really in your corner. And I think that's the real power of events. I think like is really just like building that relationship. And one of the pet peeves I have is people will want to be on podcasts. Like they'll come to me like, oh my God, like I really want to go on a podcast tour. I really want to be like, like in these rooms. I want to be invited here. And that's actually like where it all starts is like when you are looking for podcasts to be on or to be a guest on or podcasts to like podcasters to have on your podcast, you think about who you've met and who you've had these connections with. And that's where all of this starts, which is another visibility hack in itself.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I think going back to what we were saying, and I know that you and I are so fortunate to be coaches in the Mentor Collective
Yeah.
Mastermind with Chris and Lori, and we have this conversation a lot. It's such a hot topic right now in the MCM community about showing up online
Yeah.
and how that equates to sales and business, and that people are moving in different ways with their money. They're holding on to their money longer, tighter, and we as business owners have to work harder to earn their trust.
Yeah.
And I think visibility, and let's chat about, like visibility in terms of content and online,
Yeah.
you have to have more. We were
Yeah.
actually just having this conversation with one of our trainers this morning, and Matt and I were speaking with him and saying how like you have to be online all the time. Like one post a week is not going to make people
No.
want to train with you. You need
Yeah.
every day. And I'm currently trying to do, 2, 3 posts a day plus stories and creating that no like trust factor for people that are following you. But I think in terms of increasing that in terms of your content visibility, but also then your sales also comes with making the effort to be visible in person with people and being in
Yeah.
community. And
Love
you're probably
that.
seeing that a lot with the High Vibe Women community and the people that are not only in the membership, but also come to the in-person
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's amazing the shift I've seen in High Vibe Women over these 2 years that we've been doing the big in-person events has been like the the there is a level of interest in content creation that's never been there before. Like
Mm,
that I actually think going to Create and Cultivate really showed that to me. And I know Allie, that's like on our vision board to go together, like to a
yeah.
Create and Cultivate in 2026. But like going to Create and Cultivate, like they do so much for you to be able to take photos and make those like memorable Instagram moments. And before I was always like, how much value is in that? And not a knock at all. It just in a like, oh, like I'm such a strategic person that I'm like, I'm about the speakers, I'm about the room. Like I actually like I'm not gonna take a picture in front of that sign. Like that's not my way. We were just talking about this event I'm going to, and we were talking about how they sent out like a dress code, and Ali was like, "You're gonna have to do fit checks for me," and I'm like, "I'm not gonna do a fit. Like, I will. I'll send Ali some pics, but like, I'm not like a fit check like photo girl. Like, I'm not really a content creator. That's not really my thing." And so, but more and more, that's becoming part of experiencing these things and showing up and showing people where you are and what you're doing and how you're able to grow. And I think something I that was so interesting about that year that I did like a million events was like people recognize that. Like they were like, you
Mhm.
are everywhere. I'm seeing you everywhere. And even if like just for the sake of doing it, I love doing it. But on top of that, there is an element of authority that comes with that. That
Mhm.
helps with your visibility, right? Where it's like when people see you over and over again, and they see you posting 3 times a day, or they see you in stories every single day if posting is not possible for you, or they see you on LinkedIn all the time, you become top of mind for whatever service you have, even if you're bad at it. Like
Mhm.
there's no proof that I'm a great podcaster. There's no proof that I'm like an amazing social media manager. Like, but you might refer to me just just out of the fact that you are like seeing me all the time.
That you're so visible.
Yeah.
And in multiple different channels, you have the authority as a podcast host yourself, let
Yeah.
alone a podcast agency owner. You
Yeah.
go to events, but you also host a big, amazing event that
Mhm.
you're doing things that directly correlate with what you offer. So if I wanted to
Yeah.
come on here and be like, I'm a visibility coach, but you can't find me anywhere on Instagram, why would you want to take my course?
100%. A hundred
Yeah.
percent. And I see this all the time with people where, like, and I'm always really hesitant with how I share this, but like, people want to work with busy people. Like,
Mhm.
people want to work with people who are booked. If you go on a schedule and you're like, oh my goodness, I need a haircut, and it's like, I'm trying a new hairdresser, and I see that this person's open from 9 till 5 every day, and then there's one person whose price is a little bit more, and she's got 3 slots. I'm going for the 3 slots, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
not gonna screw my hair up, like. So it's just like it's really thinking about the fact that like creating that visibility kind of, um, like yeah, that even the like appearance of where you are, like not necessarily what you look like, but where you are, what you're doing, who you're talking about, what you're talking about, like all of those things make a difference in the way that you're perceived. And I think even with when we're talking about social, like having your own platforms where you're able to be the leader and the authority, that is the key. So Ali, like you are like an expert in so many things, visibility, you have a really thriving business, you're doing so many awesome things, and you having a podcast is such an added thing. And when Ali and I met, we met in Arizona at Chris's roundtable a few years ago, became,
2023.
fast friends. Yes. And we like literally like became fast friends. We're magnets. And with Matt and like really close, we live close to each other, which is crazy because we met in Arizona. And but like really like what I like remember from that, like, is you talking about like, I had this idea for this podcast I like kind of want to start. And I was like, I can help you start it, do it yourself, but I can help you start it. I think you should. And
Mhm.
now that's opened up a whole bunch of opportunities for you. You've had so much conversation, huge content opportunities. And I think people wait to be visible until they have success, but success comes with visibility. And so I think that's a big piece that people need to remember is that, you're not going to start your podcast once you've achieved a level of popularity or visibility or whatever word you want to use there. It's going to take you starting that podcast for you to build those relationships you're looking for, or for you to get in front of the people that you want to be in front of, or for you to have the content to spread your message.
Oh my gosh, like, you look at someone like a Lewis Howes that
Yeah.
isn't he at, like, 2,000 some episodes, and
Mhm.
he did it consistently, and Lewis Howes now is not what Lewis Howes was at in,
No.
episodes 1 through 70,
Hmm.
and it came with that consistency and being visible, and he's now an authority when it comes to being an author, a keynote speaker, obviously a podcast host, and if
Yeah.
he opened his mastermind doors again, I'm sure they would fill in an instant.
Yeah.
But I've just loved everything that you were just saying, and I think it is absolutely part of being visible and growing in business is like you got to get scrappy with it. And
Yeah.
I remember when you sent me a link to one mic that I should invest in. I was like, "Oh my gosh, no, I can't get that. That is hundreds of dollars more than this one, and this one's much cuter, so I'm going to get this one." Should have listened to you, and we will say it here on record for everyone to hear.
We
Because
were talking about her mic on the way in.
now that I'm, I think I'm at episode like 175 or 180, something like
Amazing.
that. That it'll come a time where I'm like, okay, I will eat my words and I will get the mic that I should have, that Kristina recommended at the very beginning. But I probably didn't think I was worthy of it because I'm like, oh, I'm just starting. And
Yeah.
I've waffled like 1 episode a week, 2 episodes a week. Should I do 3? That's probably a lot for the other things
Yeah.
that I have going on.
I'm recommending not 3 for you, Allie.
Yeah, no, me neither. Yeah, I think it was a short blip in time that I thought 3, and that's was not realistic. But I think that being able to put reps in and being in multiple places has so much value in
Yeah.
terms of one's growth in their business. And I think also, just as you said, authority and confidence.
Yeah.
Because my first couple episodes, I'm sure were like so shaky, and I'm like, I feel like I'm talking like a squirrel in circles. And now I think I can hold my own. And I actually got the loveliest text from my mom the other day letting me know that I'm a great podcast interviewer and I ask great questions.
Aw, Elaine,
That
coming in
was very
hot.
nice. Thanks, Elaine. Appreciate that. I really enjoy it. But I think it's also things that it's like a beautiful dinner party. You
Yeah.
have your appetizers and your starters and your salad and your main, and you can build your content portfolio like that. Is it podcasting? And then, okay, do
Yep.
you have reels from your podcast to be on social with Instagram and TikTok? Are you LinkedIn, Pinterest?
Yep.
And being so visible, and I've seen that, like, I totally remember your like mega event season pre baby Jack of
Mhm.
being everywhere, and I would have people being like, oh my gosh, Christina's everywhere, and
Yeah.
it has paid out in spades because then High Vibe Women is probably where it is today because of the work that you did and the investments that
Totally.
you made to get yourselves there.
100%. I remember when Stacey Millard took over like our accounting, and she was like, "You spend a lot of money on events. Like, this is crazy." And so this year, this has definitely been something we've scaled back on. I haven't worked as much, like, but we're still like on track, kind of for the same revenue as we were last year, which is great. And I remember going to Stacey being like, "Well, like, maybe I shouldn't have done all of this," and like I was in this space, right, where sometimes it's like it is a lot of investing, right? Like that year in particular, over $100,000. So like that's a ton of money.
Especially with all
And
going to the US.
yes, 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 always to the US,
Yeah,
basically.
plus
Which is
conversion
yes, which is why we're so happy about High Five Women being here in Canada.
in
Um,
Canadian dollars.
the Canadian dollar. But like, we there was we had spent a ton of money, and I had said to Stacey, I was like, oh, like maybe we shouldn't have done that. Like now, like, maybe I should have like personally kept some of that money and like whatever. And because we all get into scarcity seasons, and we all get
Mhm.
like everybody. Like I'm telling you, anyone listening to this, there's no business owner who isn't on the roller coaster of like, sometimes it's like, awesome, and I'm, about to buy a yacht, and then other times I'm like, well, should I buy the sourdough? Like, is that it? I'm just kidding, but a big piece of that was Stacey was like, you wouldn't have what you have now without having invested the way that you did.
Mhm.
And that was such good like insight for me of like, okay, like maybe it wasn't overdoing it. Like maybe that was just what the season called for. And now this season calls for something totally different. I'm way choosier. But also that season, and I talk about this on podcasts all the time, I did not make the most of that season in the
Mm.
sense of like, I like didn't have enough emotional energy to like follow up with people. Like it was like, so I meet people and then you're not even building good enough relationships with people. So if I was to do this again, even though I'm so happy with like all the people I met, everything I did, like how awesome it was, because I was literally like boop, boop, boop everywhere. Um, I think what I would say is like choose a community or two that you want to invest in really deeply and
Mm.
like be part of that community and show up over and over again there and be an authority there. So like Entrepreneurs is a great example of that for me because early on, I was an early founding member. I was in the first 500. And so I still get referrals from entrepreneurs, even though I don't do much in there anymore. But they're such a great referral source for me. And I went deep there. Chris and Lori's community, that was somewhere I showed up big. You've shown up big. And that still yields a ton of results for you and I, right? I'm still
Mhm.
to this day, I'm still getting referrals from 4 years ago, Fast Foundations. But it was because I showed up. And I think if someone's listening, they're like, okay, I don't want to go to 100 events. I don't want to post 4 times a day. Okay, where can you go and where can you go deep?
Mhm. Well, and I think also like if someone is saying like I don't want to post 2-3 times a day, you might have a rude awakening. Like
Yeah.
it might be also a bit of a tough love season in terms of some of these things are required to grow and expand.
Yeah, and I think it's about the type of growth and expansion people want. Like I think Ali,
Absolutely.
you and I are like rocket ship people. Like this is
Mhm.
like kind of the way we do most things. Is like I don't want to do anything that I'm not great at. I
Yeah.
don't know if you feel the same way. I'm like if I want to do something, I want to be a 10x, and so I'm fine with that. And then a lot of business owners I know like they're like holding on for dear life, and social isn't super important to them, or their visibility might not be. They're not in their visibility era or visibility season. Like that's not their priority. But I will tell you from listening to like Brock Johnson and Adam Mosseri talk about Instagram in particular, like from a like more technical standpoint, there is something to posting a lot. Like there just is. And
Well, I think
un-
that's changing.
mhm. Yes, and I had always been the kind of person, and I still like, in the season I'm in, I'm not posting a ton, but like it was just a great example, right? Like I'm not in a visibility, like huge visibility season, but I was, and I was posting all the time, almost every day. And I did yield the results of that. And so I still riding that in some ways. So I think knowing that it actually does really help your account to post often, doing what you have to do for your mental health. But even with events, like I just think about like when you go to them, actually doing the follow up, like
Mhm.
reaching out to people afterwards and being like, hey, we didn't get a chance to meet like at this event, or we were just at this mastermind together and there were 35 people there and I haven't had a chance to connect with you. Would you want to jump on Zoom? Or I'd love to, go first and invite you on my podcast to build that relationship with you.
Mhm.
That goes so far and really just makes such a difference towards your investment.
Oh my gosh. I totally agree. And what are you seeing even as a social media agency owner
Yeah.
in terms of if you have clients that do post once a day and do you have clients that post 3 times a day? And what are you seeing either as wins and challenges based off of that?
Yeah, I think there's like a nuance to that question, which I'll share is that like you can post every day, but if you're not personally showing up, you're not
Mhm.
going to yield the results of it. And Ali, you do a great job of this, right? Like, Ali is a mega, mega community builder. If you don't follow her, like, please go, and give her a follow because she does such a great job. And something I've always been so impressed by in being Ali's friend is like how much community she has and like super fans. But I always like laugh because like I'm just gonna share this. I don't know. If you hate it, you can cut it out. But like everywhere we go, Allie gets free stuff. Everywhere. Like and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it's because Allie does so much posting and so much community building and like so much like sharing of what people are doing. So she goes to get a spray tan. She's like, this is where I got my spray tan, and I love my spray tans. Like, and then like I have bought things Allie has gone to because I'm like, oh, like I think Ali, I don't think you'll care I share this, but Ali has an awesome partnership with Dermetics.
Mhm.
And I know so many people who go to get facials or go to D2 because of your connection with them. And which is like the influencer thing. Like that's just like the way influencers work. but a big piece, and you don't have a particularly big audience, like compared to like 100K, like, you know what I mean? Like friends we have. But you work that audience in such a positive way. You give value, you contribute to them. And that makes such a big difference. And so I think you can post 8 times a day until you're blue in the face. But if you're not in your DMs, if you're not in your stories, if you're not talking to your audience, if you're not getting a pulse on what's working, if you're not giving back to your community, if you're not tagging other people, it doesn't matter. And
Mhm.
so I think like that's the difference, is that what I'm seeing really work is community, like at its core. People posting about each other, people collaborating, people commenting, being in the DMs, having those relationships. Like you literally have no idea who's ready to buy from you. We were just talking about this. You just had someone apply for coaching who you have no idea who they are, right? That's
Yeah.
somebody who's probably watching you really closely and you have no idea.
Mhm.
So I think really like that focus on community is working, whether that be online, like with podcasts, in person. Like I think, to my point on this whole community thing, like it works, right? And like
Oh my gosh,
it
yeah.
works for them. Yeah.
And I think in the era where you can do everything online. Matt
Yep.
and I talk about it so often when we travel. We're like, what happens to the people that don't have cell phones? How do they get through with their boarding pass or the MPC app? Like, there's so much digital, which
Yeah.
has so many pros. But gosh, in the con, you can have technology, it glitches and whatnot. But also, it takes away the human connection, person to person. And
Yep.
I think somewhere in all of this, the economy changing, if you're leaning into politics and all of that stuff, having that human interaction and building in-person relationships and connections is, I feel like saying lost is a little extreme and then it's a little wah wah, but it's just maybe more challenging. And
Yeah.
so coming back to the magic of in-person events is huge. And whether it's an event like a High Vibe Women, where it's a couple hundred women in a room, or if it's
Yeah.
something like my girlfriend's walks, which are like 20 and very different price points in terms of your tickets or investments and also
Yeah.
different experiences, but it allows people to connect
Yeah.
and make those one-to-one or one-to-many relationships and expand their network, expand their circle, whether it's for business, if it's for friendship, maybe just a positive, humorous companion, and being able to really focus on that and see how that can come back into business. And one thing I also wanted to say that came to mind when you were talking
Mhm.
about content and being on stories and things like that. And I love playing around with my content to see what people like.
Yeah.
That, whether it's a bloopers video of Matt and I trying to film something serious, but it just does not go well, and posting the bloopers content, which literally leads to no offers. Like, I'm not driving it to anywhere. You're not
Yeah.
going to buy a gym
That's
membership
important.
because of it, but
Yeah.
it's just humorous, entertaining content. Or about a year ago, Matt and I went on vacation and I was doing a room tour of the hotel room. I don't know if you remember this. And I walked into the shower door, didn't see it was glass. Completely
But
missed it.
but that's the truth of content, Allie. Like it's that people love to buy from people. We want to see what people are up to. We want to see what they're doing. Like, me and Maria have a similar one where I stay at the Pearl all the time. We love the Pearl. That's why we're hosting High Vibe Women. And I stayed there one time and I got this ballin' room. Like I got an upgrade. I had a terrace. Like it was insane. And I was like, this is so awesome. And then when I got to the next time I went, I got to the front desk. Like, we upgraded your room. I was like, amazing. I opened the door. I'm like, Maria, you're going to want to film this. It's so beautiful. I opened it. I'm like, ugh, no terrace. And like, it was so like, I need a terrace in my room, but it was just so funny. And everyone was commenting on it. Was like a podcast client brought from that? No, but it does build no like and trust. Right. And that's what's important.
Oh my gosh. And I think now more than ever that people want to know who you are. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I have people that know you. They're like, oh my God, I love Kristina Bartold. I've never met her, but she's amazing. I'm like, well, she
Like
is
right here.
amazing.
Well,
And
even when I got my hair done and the girl was like, you look so familiar. And I was like, I don't know. And I looked at her, I was like, do you know Ali Aruda? And she was like, yes, from Ali Aruda's Instagram, right? Like, so it's like people know. Okay, I have a last question for you because I know we were going to do a little short one here, and we're going to do some more recording in the new year. But what do you think about hosting events as a means to like create visibility? And I do think hosting events, there's a finesse to it and nuance. Like we've both been to bad events, we've been to great events. Like, I think I think you're a master event host. I've learned so much from you. Have a Moment definitely wouldn't be what it is now without like your influence and you teaching me so
Mhm.
much. But curious for you, like What do you think about that as a strategy? Because Allie does a great job. Like, she has her girlfriends walks. She's got, women inspiring women, which might be retired, could come back. I don't know. I'm not
Jury's
sure.
out.
Like, yeah, jury's out on it. I thought it was the last hurrah. Never know for sure. But like, you do so many events as a means of community building for Benchmark, but then also for your coaching and stuff. What do you think about people using events in that way?
Oh my gosh, I think it is such a good idea.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot as a question, even in our Mentor Collective Mastermind community,
Mm,
where depending on, who the member is and what their business is and their challenge, and I am the first one to say, like, take my walk event. Like, it is not groundbreaking and it is not
yes.
complicated. Or do like a book club event. You could do something so cheap and cheerful. I was going to try
Yeah.
to make that into one word and that was not going well. But like a cute, easy event. It doesn't need to be $1,000 a head dinner party. I mean, you look at what the Create and Cultivate does with Supper Club.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Big money to host events like that. If you were going to
Totally.
have X, Y, and Z elements. A walk, like, find someone who, the best case scenario is find a partner where
Yeah.
it's an equitable exchange that you can, like, I probably wouldn't host a girlfriend's walk at a Pet Value where you're going to buy pet food. But if you worked with a shelter, okay, let's walk the dogs on the walk, like, and then have something that's related. But I think just doing something small and simple that
Yeah.
relates to your audience, your ideal client, who it is that you serve or what your business and offering is about, absolutely do something small and grow into it. Even you're saying
Yes.
women inspiring women, we had less than 25 people at the first one because I thought this might just be nice. It was in the pandemic where people were told not to be around each other and not to be in
Yeah.
community. So I was like, why not make an event that is focused on community? And then it grew into being a 100-person event
Yes.
over a couple of years. But I am
Yeah.
so for it, and I think that is such a good idea. And when people host small events like that, make sure you have content.
Yes, that's something you and I both really invest in. Like, we're like always having little content creators come and work at them. Videographers, both use Matt. Like, so it's really like, yes, I totally agree. And I was gonna say as well, like, the aligned partnership is huge. And like, who could you partner with where like you could bless their business, where it's like, hey, could I host, I think about you with HB Face with Haley, like, you going into Haley's like store and bringing a bunch of people in there who might never go in there. Like, normally they might not know Haley, and this is a great opportunity for them to get to know her. They go in, her space is gorgeous. They do great work. Like, there is a huge benefit there, right? And so for her to host is probably beneficial for her as well as it is for you. And I think that's why aligned partnerships are just so good, where you find people who you're like, can be power partners with, where you're building that kind of rapport with each other, but then also being able to help grow each other's audiences.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And just going back to that, creating that trust factor. Like, I have so many DMs that come through my Instagram inbox about where to get your eyebrows done, where to get your hair done,
Yeah.
because I'm so used to sharing and amplifying a lot of these brands that whether I go to and just purchase their services, whether we do a collaboration,
Yeah.
content exchange for services or partner on events, and just really being a champion and a cheerleader for these businesses that many of which are owned by just like solopreneurs that
Yeah.
you want to help grow and amplify them and what they do.
Yeah. No, I love that. No. Well, for anyone listening, because I know we have to wrap up, but I was going to say, for anyone listening, go and think about, like, in terms of your visibility strategy for this upcoming year, think about like, one, like how you can just be of service. Like, I think like whether that's going to events and meeting people and like connecting them with each other, or running small cheap and cheerful events, or going to events and like being like the most, and this is something I think you and I are both so good at, is like, often we go to events, we're like the most enthusiastic people in the room. Like, we're there, we're always so happy to like be supportive. And I know Chris has said this, like, to both of us, is this idea of like, sometimes like enthusiasm will get you farther than skill can, right? Where you can go in and you show up and you're like all in, it can make such a difference. So I don't know, this is such a good chat. I know we're going to do as some more in the new year, but I hope that people like get a lot of this in terms of visibility. And why don't you tell folks what you've got going on?
Well, it's funny, just to echo what you just said. Yesterday's Mentor Collective Mastermind call, Lori was talking about that, about, being visible, having energy, and literally used probably from when I would attend Girlfriends in Business. You and I were there many times
Yeah.
together. and use that as an exact example that I would show up, I would fly into Arizona and go to this event. I had a very specific seat that I wanted, second row on the end, inside, so I could get all of the content. And sometimes I would elbow girls out of the way. I'm like, no, that is my seat. I have to sit
Yeah.
there. I then got to the point where I think our friend Brienne knew and actually placed a name card for me, which I really appreciated.
Yeah.
Because
Nice touch.
I would turn around, I would show up, I would dance in the breaks, I would connect with the girls, I would ask the questions, I would give gratitudes to the keynote speakers and put together great content. And look where it's gotten me.
Yeah.
Now I get to be a partner in this incredible mastermind community. So I could not double down my passion for what you just said about so often it is your energy and enthusiasm that gets you visible, that leads you to opportunity often quicker than just your skill itself.
100%. Well,
And
okay,
with that said,
tell people what you got going on.
oh, I am so excited about this. I have literally never run a program before, and I am so pumped to be running a 6-week visibility accelerator that gets you more seen in 2026. So you want to be more seen online, you want to make more money, more connections. It starts with visibility, and I am so pumped. This idea came to me so clearly when I was in LA a little while ago for a dinner event that I got invited to. I made the choice to fly down, take the content, share it online, and all of these things that are working together and working for me to meet and be around so many incredible people that are further ahead than me that I get to learn from, be inspired by. And I just am so excited about this program. It'll be an intimate group because we want to ensure we're over delivering on the value and the experience. But I have so many incredible guest coaches coming in and sharing what it is that they do and how they have built the network and the business and the visibility that they have. And everyone gets to learn from it. So I'm so pumped.
Yay. Well, we'll make sure all that's in the show notes, of course. And yeah, go shoot Allie a DM if that's something that you're interested in. I know she also does a lot of one-on-one coaching. We're just both so passionate about being visible, going to the right events, like connecting with the people who, we've like both had such great like momentum in our businesses. And I know 100% that's why. So love you, Allie. This was so fun.
Well, speaking of events and visibility, let's chat about High Vibe Women 2026 coming up. It's just around the corner in March.
I know. Yeah, it's March 7th at the Pro Hotel in Burlington. And all the VIP tickets are sold out. We're over 50% sold out and the GA as well. So it's crazy. But yeah, if you're interested in coming, use the code podcast50 to save 50 on your ticket. But it's going to be incredible. It's such a good way to meet incredible people. We have amazing speakers. We have some live podcast rooms. Yeah, there's so much good stuff happening. And yeah, so come on over and check it out.
What a powerful weekend for High Vibe Women to fall on. It's International Women's Day weekend. So I just love that energy so much. And obviously this will be linked in both episode show notes so you guys can get those tickets. And I haven't missed one. I love that event so much. And it's been so amazing watching the growth of High Vibe Women for what you and Maria have created and the incredible women that attend this event. So I am excited for all of you listening and watching that will be going for your very first time. Woo, you are in for such a treat.
Oh, Allie, thank you. Well, to this and more, to everyone who's listening for an amazing 2026. Allie and I are so excited for what's to come. We've got stuff brewing up. Thanks so much.
And a Netflix show, manifesting our Netflix show.
Yeah, if anyone has any connections on Netflix, use it
yeah,
sparingly. It doesn't have to be on us. But it could be if you want it to be.
It could be a group effort, and we can't wait. We'll promise to over deliver.
I love it. Thanks so much.
Oh, I love you so much, guys. Thanks so much for being here. And hey, if you have a few minutes and you're, just enjoying a coffee, maybe you want to drop in, give both Inspire and Move and the Community Podcast a little 5-star rating review. We love words of affirmation, so we would both love that.
Yeah, our love language.
Okay, we love you, Kristina. I love you. I'm so grateful for you and our friendship.
Likewise.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.